Hi guys, this is Holistic Jen. I'm here today to talk about crackers or breads. I have a hard time finding vegan, gluten-free breads or crackers that satisfy my desires for healthy whole foods. When I go to the grocery store, I do like Mary's Gone crackers. I don't know if you've seen those. They're usually made with seeds. I think it has some rice in there. Anyway, I really like their crackers, but I'm looking for some other options. So I've seen a lot of recipes. Some people call them bread, some people call them crackers. It depends on how thick or thin you make this recipe. But it's really easy, and you can mix and match spices, nuts, and seeds however you want it. So I'll just show you what I do. The first thing I have is some sunflower seeds, dripping, that I had soaking for an hour. I always soak nuts and seeds. They have enzyme inhibitors on them, and so when you soak them, that will help bring out the nutrients. You can see some have started to sprout, so much more nutrients. It's going to be much more easily digested in my body, and I'm going to get more of these nutrients, easier to digest. Anyway, so this is 1 cup of soaked sunflower seeds. I'm going to throw them in. This is a zucchini. This one's huge. I might not use the whole thing. I think I'll use half of the zucchini. And the zucchini just adds some moisture. A lot of recipes have oil in them, and I don't do oil. There are natural oils in these sunflower seeds. Sunflower seeds have a lot of vitamin E, which is good for brain health. Good for your skin. So I'm just going to chop this. It doesn't have to be nice and neat. I don't know why I'm chopping evenly. It can be rough chopped. So this is a huge zucchini. So one small one is probably about the same. I'm leaving the skin on. This is an organic. This actually came from my yard. Remember, the nutrition is in the skin and in what holds the skin to the flesh. So you always want that. I'm also going to put in an onion. This is going to be a savory cracker. You can make them sweet and leave the onion out. I'm going to save these ends and put them in my freezer bag to make my vegetable broth. So first thing I did is I cut the top and bottom off the onion, and then I cut it in half. And now I'm going to cut it almost all the way through. You see what I'm doing here? And then I'm going to dice it. Now it's going to be in the food processor, and so it's going to be all ground up, so I really don't have to be nice and neat about it. Yes, it's just to have that little hard core. I'm going to take it out. It can go into my broth as well. And I accidentally cut it all the way through. So normally I use a red onion. I think you've heard me say that. It's full of anthocyanins, which is wonderful for repairing DNA. But these are Vidalia onions, which grow not too far from where I live. And they're delicious, and we can only get them 1 time a year. And so I always get them. They come out. They're usually available around Mother's Day, and so I buy a bunch and I use them until they're done, and then I go back to my red onions. Okay, so I have 1 small onion. I'm going to cry from the onion even though it's a Vidalian. I have a very large zucchini, and I have a cup of sunflower seeds. Now I'm going to put some spices in here. Even though there's onion, I'm going to be adding some onion and some garlic powder just to give it a little bit more flavor. So about a teaspoon of garlic powder. Ooh, my eyes are burning. And about a teaspoon of salt. This is pink Himalayan salt. I'm going to put in a couple of tablespoons of nutritional yeast to give it a cheesy flavor. Nutritional yeast is fortified with lots of B vitamins, so a lot of people use nutritional yeast as a way to get their B vitamins, or to get additional B vitamins. You should eat plenty of food to get your B vitamins. And some onion powder. I'm going to puree this in my food processor, so it'll be loud for just a minute. Alright. I'm making kind of a cracker dough here. So I'm going to scrape down the sides It smells fantastic. All right, I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of soy sauce to give it, well, this is not soy sauce, this is liquid aminos. This is a gluten-free soy sauce. The ingredients are vegetable protein from soybeans and water. So there's no other added ingredients. Regular soy sauce does have wheat in it, and so I'm allergic to wheat, so I don't want that. I would do a couple of tablespoons. You don't have to be accurate. And I wanted to add some red pepper flakes. So this is some dried cayennes that I had. I had cayennes in the garden last year, so we dried them and then pulsed them to make red pepper flakes. Cayenne is wonderful for heart health. I breathed in the cayenne. Woo! It's wonderful for your heart and your circulatory system. I like a little bit, I'm not going to put too much, just a few pinches in there. But it also helps your body to produce hydrochloric acid so that you can break down your foods when you are eating. So add red pepper flakes anytime that you can. So I'm just going to incorporate that. And then the last thing I'm going to add is ground flax seeds. So I bought these flax seeds from Sprouts. These are just whole brown flax seeds. It doesn't matter what color you have. I'm going to use a cup of flax seeds, but I want to grind them. And so I have a little coffee grinder over here on the side. I don't know if you can see it. Here's the insert. And I have a measuring cup somewhere. Here we go. Let me measure out. This is a half a cup. So flax seeds are also used kind of as a vegan egg. They get very gelatinous. They get this slimy texture when they're added to a liquid. And so it will help hold everything together, just like I'm adding an egg to my dough. So I'm going to grind it. It'll be loud for a minute. And I could have done that off camera, but just thought I would show you everything start to finish so you could see exactly what I do. So here is a half a cup of ground flax seeds, full of omega-3 fatty acids, fabulous for the heart and the brain. You want to get in as many omega-3s as you can. Very high in fiber. Flax seeds are wonderful for you. So I'm going to put in another half a cup. And like I said, you don't have to be really accurate. I'm going to grind this. And add these to my food processor. Get everything out with all those flax seeds. And now I need to put the lid on and combine it. Now if your dough is a little watery, don't worry about it. We're putting it in the dehydrator and that water will dehydrate off. If it's a little too dry, then I would add a little more zucchini or squash or other wet vegetables. Sometimes people will use some grated carrots. Grated carrots give it a wonderful flavor. I could have grated the zucchini instead of just throwing it in here. I just was trying to be as easy as I could. Okay, so here is what our dough looks like. So you can see it. And okay, let me clear some space to show you exactly how I do this. I want you to be able to see. I might need a little. Okay. All right, this is my dehydrator tray. You can see, and I just have I think it's called a Teflon sheet on top. I've got my dough, and I'm going to spread it out. I like it kind of thick. If you wanted a really crunchy cracker, then you could make it really thin. I'm just going to spread it out here on these sheets. And then I'm going to put it in the dehydrator for about 4 hours. And then I'm going to try to flip it or pull this off. I'm going to flip it over and try to pull this Teflex sheet off. If it won't come off, then I'll leave it in the dehydrator for a little bit, for a couple more hours until I can get that sheet off. And then I'm going to flip it so it dries on that side. And it usually takes about 24 hours to get it dried all the way through. You can see this is about a 1/4 inch thick, which is pretty thick. I'm going to use it to put like hummus on, or even to make like a sandwich. I could make it really thin. After I pull the parchment, or Teflex sheet off, I'm going to score it with a pizza cutter, or I also have a dough scraper that I may use to score it. I'm going to score it so that it'll be easy to break apart. If I dry it completely like this whole, and then I try to break off pieces, it's not going to go well. And so I'm going to score it to make it easier. But I'll show you that when I do that. So these crackers do not have any flour in them. It's all whole ingredients. We have the sunflower seeds and the flax seeds. So we're getting plenty of wonderful oils for our body. We have the zucchini, which is providing some fiber and some water. There's some other vitamins in zucchini. They're not the most nutrient rich of the vegetables or fruits. It's actually a fruit. But it's better than having a flour or a processed ingredient. And then we have our cayenne in the form of our red pepper flakes, wonderful for heart health. And we have our liquid aminos, which is just soy. So we can feel really good about eating these crackers. Okay, so I think I have it spread out there the way I want it. I'm going to put this in the dehydrator at 105 degrees, and in 4 hours I will check on it and pull that sheet off if I can. If not, I'll leave it in for a couple more hours. These are pretty thick. I don't know if you can see how thick that is. It's pretty thick, and so it may take longer. Anyway, I'll check back with you. I was cleaning up, guys, when I remembered I have this everything blend from Simply Organic. This it's like everything bagel seasoning. It has sesame seeds and poppy seeds. I'm trying to see what else, and spices. Anyway, delicious, but I thought this would be really fabulous on my crackers or bread. And so I'm going to sprinkle this on top and kind of press them in there. Something else I didn't talk about was you could use any seeds in here. Or nuts as well. You know, if you don't want sunflower seeds, you could use pumpkin seeds. Very high in iron, pumpkin seeds are. I have to squat down to see the camera. And maybe I should take the lid off if I can to make this a little quicker. Anyway, this looks like a delicious blend. I just opened it, so I haven't tried it yet. And some on here. And then I can just lightly pat it into the cracker. And now I'm going to put them in the dehydrator. See you soon. Good morning. I already said that the crackers or bread you don't have to be very specific. And I forgot that I had these in the dehydrator last night. And so I wanted to show you. So they've been in there for, oh my gosh, probably 12 hours. So here they are. It will come off of the Teflex pretty easily, but I need to pull it off. And so what I'm going to do is put this other tray on top, flip it over, and then what can I do so you can see it better? Now I'm just going to peel off the back so you can see it. And then I've got my little pizza cutter, and I'm going to cut it into squares. This way, when it finishes drying, I'm scoring it. When it finishes drying, then I'll be able to just snap them into squares, and they'll have nice straight edges. You don't have to do that, but I like it to have those neat edges. So you can see this is still about a 1/4 inch thick. Anyway, I can do the rest of that off camera, but I will show you. I'll do it one more time with this one. This one was a little bit thinner. Can you see my cracker? Flip it over. Pull off the backing. And then just cut it into squares. And you could use a regular knife. You don't have to use if you don't have a pizza cutter. I do have like a pastry cutter, or you could just use a regular knife. And this one would be a little bit smaller. It doesn't matter what size you cut them. You could cut them into triangles. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm going to finish drying these. I'm going to stick them in the dehydrator. I have a feeling it's going to take maybe 8 more hours before they're completely dried all the way through. And then I'll show you the finished product. Okay, I'm back. My crackers are ready. You can see I already ate one. Had to take that square right there. Here's what they look like. They started to curl up a little bit on the edges, but I'll bite one, see if you can hear the crunch. Anyway, the flavor is delicious. Now, another thing I meant to mention was I could have cut these into much bigger slabs and then use them as a flatbread, or even as like a loaf bread, slices to make a sandwich or something like that. So it'd be great. Also, if I spread it out a lot thinner onto maybe 3 or 4 trays and dried them, sometimes they get kind of flexible. These are pretty crunchy, but depending on what kind of seeds you use, sometimes they're flexible, so you can even use them as a wrap. I like them more as crackers. I like to dip them in different things. Dip them in hummus. They're great with hummus. If I didn't, these are onion flavored. You can see my seeds I put on top. And so I'm not sure exactly what I would want to dip them in, but you can leave the onion out and then have a cracker that you could dip into something sweeter, more of a sweet than a savory dish. Anyway, if you make these crackers, let me know. Make sure you like and share my videos, comment, let me know what you like or don't like. Let me know what other videos you would like to see. Anyway, enjoy.